Good morning to our beautiful community. My name is Ella, and I am so honored to welcome you to today's author celebration. And I think that this one is especially close to the heart because we're here to celebrate the paperback release of Mindful Her Women Sharing Their Mental Health Journeys, which is a raw, deeply moving, and empowering collection of stories by women who've walked through mental health struggles and found healing, hope, and strength on the other side. And we've got even more to celebrate because this book is officially a bestseller in five Amazon categories. So, with us today are some of the incredible authors who shared their hearts in this book. So, let's welcome them in. We have Ariel first.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ariel Balfour. I am a emotional wellness mentor, and I help everybody move through basically the traumas that we talked about in this book. And I love what I do. And this book was such a great opportunity to really showcase that, we're all human. We all go through things. You never know what somebody else's struggle is. And that kindness really is the medicine of the day, and believing in yourself and just persevering through what you think you might not be able to make it through, but you always do. So knowing your true strength with it.
Thank you and welcome, Ariel. And we also have Valerie.
Hi there. So I am a holistic health coach, energy healer, and somatic practitioner. And I help women who are struggling with anxiety, stress, and overwhelm, and regulating their nervous system and becoming more empowered. And that is what I love about this book and why I decided to join in um, this anthology, was that we can show that through the mental health struggles we may be going through, we can become these empowered, beautiful women. And so I'm super excited to share my story and share everybody else's stories with the public so they too can become empowered women.
Thank you so much, Valerie. And now we can go with Alicia. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. So glad you guys are here with us today. My name is Alicia Polino, and I am the CEO of Polino Health and Wellness. I am an intuitive transformation coach and also a public speaker, and very passionate about empowering women to heal, rediscover their dreams, and step into the most authentic versions of themselves. So when I work with my clients, I really work through the mental, physical, emotional, and financial healing to really cultivate that self-love and purpose. And I love this book so much because I feel like all of the authors here, like we have so much in common with so many things. While we all feel so alone on our journeys, sometimes it really just goes to show that when we really do align with ourselves and truly heal, we become these marvelous saints that just realize that we have all the strength and power in the world that we used to give to everybody else. Like we have that and own it as our own. And it allows so many beautiful, amazing things to happen in our lives. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Alicia. We also have Stephanie with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Myers. I'm a gender bias strategist. I help women navigate because so many of us do not know exactly what bias is, and we tend to hold it in, take, we act like it's something that we've done when it's actually something being done to us. I help women in the workplace and in business navigate those fields so that they can not only manage it but overcome it so that it's not a stressor in the workplace or in their business when they run up against it. They know they're better equipped to handle it.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And lastly, we have Sonia. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with these amazing women. My name is Sonia Rodriguez, and I am a psychotherapist and women's life transition coach. I've been a psychotherapist for over 22 years and have recently started doing some coaching work, particularly with women who are navigating difficult life transitions, such as dealing with a divorce or a significant loss in their life, or even just changing careers or going back into the workforce after being home raising children for some time. So I love anything having to do with navigating transitions and helping people find their calling and what they want to be doing in the world. And so happy to be a part of this anthology, and I feel very connected to it, and talked a lot about, just the power of how we heal, how we navigate all of life's challenges.
Okay, thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Welcome to our incredible authors. And now we can start. So this is what we'll do. I'll be asking a few questions, at the day you said yes to being part of this book, what was going through your heart or mind in that moment? We can start with Ariel.
Hey, you actually glitched out on my end. What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, the question was, looking back at the day you said yes to being part of this book, what was going through your heart or mind in that moment?
Uh, well, for me, this was my second anthology that I signed up for, and I had always wanted to write my own book because my story, my life story, is very unique in everything that I have been through and had to be resilient and work through and all this stuff. And so I was like, a lot of my clients have asked for bits and pieces of my story, and I started with the first anthology, and in sharing that, I felt a a kindred heart with my team and the other women in the book that I shared my story with. And I got to know them and a personal piece of their lives as well. And so when this opportunity came up, I thought, what a better way to like just share another piece of my story and be able to connect with other resilient, strong women who are paving the way for success and healing. And it really, I think this book really allows us to see each other for who we are and the absolute undeniable strength that we all hold. And I think that when I was like thinking about signing up for this book, my first thought was, what am I going to share, that's not going to scare people off? And I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to share my heart and what really happened in a certain point in my life. And I just allowed everything to flow with ease, and understanding that every woman in this book was doing the same thing, and that there was almost like this sacred holding that was happening amongst all of us by being in this group together. Even though none of us know each other or live near each other, it just felt like a sacred sisterhood where you could share your most vulnerable side of yourself and be able to connect on a level that I don't think you could outside of the anthology.
Thank you for sharing that, Ariel. And now let's see the same question for you, Valerie.
There we go. Yeah, so the first thing that kind of came to me when this came up as an option was I guess this feeling of like empowerment of like I'm going to share so that others feel like they have a way, have a purpose, have a journey, can do it themselves as well. And so I was really excited to just kind of be a little bit more vulnerable and open. I've always shared my anxiety story from day one. But there's a lot of layers to it. And so I was able to go a little bit deeper and explore the layers and give a little bit more into the real deep understanding of my own journey and how it all began. And I wanted the readers to maybe kind of dissect their own life in that manner too, and just know like it might have not been just this that started the anxiety. Maybe there's more to it, and to look at it with curiosity rather than fear and embrace it is kind of the reason why I wanted to start writing about it.
Well, that's such a great story. Thank you, Valerie. Now we can continue with Sonia.
Sure. So, like most of the women have already said, I think it's just a great opportunity to talk about how we have made it through our own struggles and what were the key components of getting through those difficult moments. And I talked a lot in my chapter about the power of vulnerability, and I think it's not common for women to talk about their challenges and their struggles because we often feel like we have to have it all together. And it's so important to recognize that everyone, and as a therapist, I feel like I can strongly say this, everyone at some point in their lives experiences struggles, challenges, trauma, and that we need to just connect with one another, recognize that we don't have to do it alone, and that there are resources and tools to get us through, and that we usually almost always come out stronger after we have made it through those challenging moments. And so I think that that's so important. And I thought this was a great opportunity to write about it and to really encourage women all over the world to recognize that here there are so many of us who are thriving and successful now, but that we have certainly made it through challenging moments in our lives.
Thank you,
Thank
Sonia.
you.
And now let's hear Stephanie. What do you think? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good now.
I wanted more women to live without fear. I know for me and my experiences with bias, there was always a fear of the unknown connected to it. And it made me feel like I was the only one suffering. So I didn't want women to think that they were the only one suffering, that they were an isolated event. I did not want women to think that they were powerless when they were actually powerful. And because they were feeling anxiety or depression, burnout, with no hope in sight, particularly in the times that, we were living in when we first started the anthology up until now, seeing so many of our rights and freedoms that we took for granted, even being, scrutinized and eliminated. I wanted the majority of women to know that their power not only is within themselves, but as a collective, we are super women when we come together and share not only our triumphs, but our so-called defeats, because our defeats wind up even being a strength if we strategize and use it correctly.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm sorry, I almost muted myself. And then we can go with Alicia. Let us know.
So for me, it really was about, as I continue to work with clients, of seeing like the healing that I've done, right? Like all of us, we try to keep up with the Joneses in society of all the things that we're supposed to be doing. But on the inside, so many of us are struggling with, why are we still stuck? Why do we feel like we're on this hamster wheel? And I really wanted to empower people to like really take a second, step back and look at like, what is the stuff that you're sweeping under the rug or keeping in that box that's keeping you stuck? And how can we really start to work through that? And by sharing my journey, kind of giving it as an example of like, this is how I did this. And if I can do it, you can do it too, kind of mentality. Because when we just continue to go on the hamster wheel, because while we are suffering and it hurts and we don't like the situation that we in, most of us, when we're in that point, at least for me, it was like, I didn't feel like I deserved love. I didn't feel like I was worthy of this. So to step out into the unknown of the healing aspect of that and walk into something unknown was more scary than it was to stay on the hamster wheel of sabotage that I continue to do for myself. And I really wanted to share about like, there is breakthrough. You can break free from that hamster wheel, and it is scary, but to know that such peace and alignment comes with that, and when you truly learn to love yourself, it breaks so many things wide open for you.
Thank you, Alicia, and thank you all for sharing your stories and sharing how everything began for you. And by the way you talk about your own process, you can tell that all the stories you tell in this book feel so real and unfiltered. So I want to ask you, what surprised you the most about yourself during the writing process? And we can start now with Sonia.
Sure. So I think that anytime we write, we think we're going to write one thing, and then we realize about all the things that come up as we're writing it, kind of all the stories and all the feelings that are triggered um, as we're remembering some of the things that we want to talk about. So I think for me, one of the things that was always hard to talk about and write about was vulnerability and being vulnerable. And so I think, this pressure to be a strong woman, a strong working woman, a working mother, is always at the forefront, and that it's hard to be vulnerable sometimes. And so for me, it was really talking about the power of being vulnerable and how sometimes that allows us to not feel alone and connect with other women.
Thank you, Sonia. Now we
Sure.
can continue with Stephanie.
What I found very interesting was that after my chapter was complete, after our whole book was complete, I felt a sense of relief, like an emptying, a pouring out of my soul, because I didn't have to worry about what other people thought. When people look at you like you're the one who's got it together, and then you write a chapter in a book talking about mental health, and they're, what? It's like I didn't concern myself with any of that. It was just, I felt freedom. And I think that great deal of freedom is really what surprised me at the end.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now we can continue with Ariel.
I definitely have to echo what Stephanie said. There's definitely an emptying and processing that happened when writing this chapter. For me, I decided to share about my traumatic birthing experience and getting Bell's palsy and everything that happened as a result of that. And it's a beautiful synchronicity because this book released for C-section Awareness Month, which I thought was such a divine timing on it as well. Um, Writing this chapter actually led to me to advocating in our local hospital for the proper care of women post C-section and all the things that can happen. There's a lot of mental health that happens as a result of that. So now I'm offering my services for free to women who are, struggling with the mental health aspect after having, emergency C-sections and everything going wrong. Because as a society, we've typically pushed women to be like, here, you've been cut wide open, here's a major surgery, now go take care of this tiny human, where everybody's going to ask how the baby's doing, but nobody's going to ask how you're doing. And it was really kind of an eye-opener, like a freedom, like Stephanie said, of like letting it off my chest and my own experience, and like a final piece to my healing puzzle, which then led me to offer this service, which has been widely sought after, because there's a lot of women who have suffered in silence because of this, and feeling like they were alone and like they felt guilt and shame over, I should be happy I had a healthy, happy baby, but here I am suffering in silence and no one sees it. And so for me, I think it was a beautiful release, but also a beautiful new beginning to something bigger than myself.
Thank you, Ariel. And now let's listen to Alicia.
Just for something that surprised me is, as I went on my journey, I was like, the power of vulnerability. And I used to think that because of everything that happened to me in my life, like I was like, which story am I going to write about? What happened? And all things of knowing of like I had to do it on my own, right? Like I didn't feel safe to ever share any of this stuff. I kept it in, and it's like I will just figure out life on my terms and I'll do it by myself, because to share it with somebody else was very scary. So I was surprised by how willing I was just to be vulnerable with just such a big piece of this, because it really just hits me deep to my soul of like so many people need to understand that you have a Whoville. You can create a safe space of people around you, like women in this anthology, like all creating safe spaces for us to sit here and share our stories and come together and say, like, we want to help the world heal and be that light. And knowing that, you know, as I wrote this, I was just like, really just spoke to all the strength that I had in myself all along that I just, I guess, brushed aside or didn't believe at one point in time that that was really me.
Thank you. And now we can go with Valerie.
I think the one thing that surprised me was that I could even write. You know, I never considered myself a writer in any aspect. And so I was a little hesitant to even do this because I was like, well, I'm not a writer. I'm not an author. And so I think it really surprised me that I was able to actually put words together that made sense, and I could actually formulate paragraphs and really tell my story in a meaningful and purposeful way that was understood. And I was also worried about writing my story because it involved so much of my past family traumas and history. And I didn't know how that would in turn affect my family, but it brought us a little closer together and gave us an opportunity for discussing and going through some of the stories and really seeing things from other perspectives. So it gave me the opportunity to really open up and have the deeper conversations that were needed as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's powerful to get to know a little bit more about your journey when you made a decision to be part of the book and the writing process as well. And now I want to ask you, now that the paperback is out and this project is in the world, how has being part of Mindful Her changed you? We can start with Alicia.
For me, just the people that have been coming back to me that even got the Kindle version of it, right? And just saying, like, I feel like this book speaks directly to me in so many ways. And it just allows another avenue for me to continue to reach out and help people heal. And sharing the story, like, I feel free. You know what I mean? Like, I've been part of another book before prior to this, but again, like Val said, like, not a writer. Like, who wants to hear my story? Like, why? It's not important. Like, not hers, mine, but like that's how I felt about myself, right? Like, oh, like nobody wants to hear this. But the reality is that so many of us just feel like we are not seen and heard, and like the little versions of ourselves, our inner child, right? We're silenced, and I don't mean necessarily punished, but just made to, like, we had to basically make ourselves appease everybody else, so we never really knew who we were. We never knew what our voice truly felt like. And so continuously you know, putting this out there and sharing it with people is like, it can be a scary, great new world of people like seeing a whole nother side of you that they didn't see before or that you didn't really share. So I love that that's out there, and it's just allowing me to continue to connect with people.
Thank you. And what do you think, Stephanie?
For me, it has opened, well, I get excited because I see more women accepting the fact that they don't have to put on the facade of being perfect. And that helps me, and it helps them to know it's okay to admit when you're having a bad day. It's okay to admit you don't know how to do something and you may need support dealing with it mentally. That is what gets me, I think, up in the morning, knowing that we are continually, as a whole group of women across the world, moving forward, even though when we look at TV or listen to certain people talk, there's so much negative about women. This book, I believe, shines a light in a dark room, you know, making us all feel that we are worthy, making us all know that we are to be respected and that we are strong and powerful within our own right, and that we're not too emotional. We can handle the tough things and make it through.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Stephanie. Can we go now with Valerie?
Oh, yeah. I think for me, it's just what I really gained from it was um, a sense of empowerment again. I think it's kind of our theme throughout, right? Feeling this empowerment. But for me, it was feeling like, okay, I can accomplish this goal. As I said, I wasn't a writer. I'm not, well, now I guess I am, but I wasn't a writer. And so that was a really, really big, like, check on the bucket list kind of thing for me to do in getting my feet wet. And I think this was perfect for it. And I really feel like it it gave me this sense of empowerment, like you can do the tough things. And so not only did I do all the tough things through my own mental health journey, but this was just another, kind of link in the chain of you can still do the tough things. And so it just helped bring awareness to myself and bringing in more self-confidence and empowerment to continue on my journey, and helping those as well.
Thank you, Valerie. And now let's go with Ariel.
First off, I just want to say, Valerie, congratulations on your first writing opportunity of many. I'm sure you can do the tough things, so super proud of you. Your story is very empowering, so I just wanted to put that out there. For me, I think that this book really started a new pathway for me, and it allows my clients, as well as all of our clients, to see that, like, we all have been there, we all have made it through, we all have a piece of our story to share, and that there is a way out. I think a lot of the time when people are at their wits end, they feel like there's no hope, they feel like there's no way out, that they're stuck, that it's going to feel like this forever. And I think that the empowering part of this anthology in particular is that it shows that that's just not true, that no matter how dark today seems, the sun is always going to rise tomorrow. And every day is a new opportunity to try to make that step out into the light. And I think that having so many powerful stories together in one book, it's just like a super punch of, like, we've got this. And together we are stronger. And I think that this book really speaks to that, and it empowers people to take the choices and be like, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to take that next step. If they can do it, so can I. And I think that it allows our clients to see that we're people too, we've been there, right? And it gives a beautiful, almost like a hand out for them to grab and take that next step that they need to.
Thank you, Ariel. And now we can go with Sonia.
Lots of what everyone's shared already, but I think the process of writing is so healing. It's just unbelievable. And I encourage the clients that I work with to journal. And even for myself, I find that just writing things down and sorting through my emotions is very healing. And I think that was a big part of it for me. And then certainly putting everything down on paper in terms of practical tools and how I've overcome some of my challenges and my struggles, and some of the things I certainly teach the clients that I work with. And so I think it's important for the readers to know is to constantly have faith and confidence in yourself, and that, like many of the women have already shared, those dark days and those dark moments and those challenges are usually temporary, and you will come out the other side. And just seek out the resources you need, seek out the support, and connect with others who have gone through similar experiences, and you will make it through. And so I love the opportunity to write, and I think it's a very powerful tool for everyone. So if you're feeling a certain way, just take out a pen and paper and just write. And who knows, one day you too can write a chapter or a whole book. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you all for sharing your story and for letting it be a lifeline for someone else. I think that this book is a movement of healing and sisterhood. So thank you so much for sharing that. And now, before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to celebrate something huge, because Mindful Her is now an Amazon bestseller in 5 categories, as we shared, including Kindle Store, motivational self-help, biographies, and memoirs of women, also personal transformation, and it is number 77 in new releases in biographies and memoirs of women. So congratulations to all of you. Your voices are reaching the hearts of women everywhere. So congratulations. And I just want to thank you and say to everyone watching that Mindful Her is now available in paperback on Amazon. So whether you need a reminder of your own strength or you want to give the woman in your life with truth and encouragement, this is the book. So thank you so much to all of our incredible authors. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your stories, and we'll see you next time for more stories that live, that inspire, and remind us that we rise together. But for now, bye for all of us. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.